What if love is more than just a feeling? What if it's a universal force shaping how we understand ourselves, our community, and the world? Welcome to the Philosophy of Love, where we break down the science behind love, how it influences our minds, our behaviors, and the way we connect with humanity. Join us as we explore the psychology of love as a driving force for empathy, growth, and understanding. You're watching the Philosophy of Love podcast with Juan Lee and Dr. James Brockington.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back. How you doing, Doc?
Now we're good to go, Juan. We're good to go.
Hey, we already had a little go around since we started here today, but we're gonna have a good time today. Welcome, everybody. If this is your first time here, thank you for coming and listening to our podcast, The Philosophy of Love. It's presented by Clear Journey, which is a nonprofit that supports individuals that are looking for answers to life's challenges. We provide resources and education and a mindset to be successful in every area of your life. We're looking for a love mindset that we help you navigate life in particularly certain areas, but in all areas. That we have from finances, health and wellness, relationships, and then overall personal growth.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's where the right mindset will allow you to navigate life more successfully in every facet of your life. So I tell you, thank you for being here. If you want to know more about Clear Journey, go over to Clear Journey's website right there, clearjourney.org. Learn more about what we do. We would appreciate if it's anything there that you like and you find yourself over there and you want to be inclined to want to help and support us. By all means, feel free to donate to our nonprofit, which is a 501c nonprofit that you can help us continue to provide information and resources to the community. Also, in addition to that, I will tell you that one of the things that we do very well, and the foundation, first of all, the foundation of our nonprofit is based on a book that I wrote it too. But the book is called Love Made Simple, The Guide to Inner Peace, Contentment, and Success. And it's there for you to help you establish this love mindset, so that you might be able to navigate life more successfully. There is a way that you don't have to be. It's an alternative. It's here to give you an alternative to what this thing is and the challenges that you might be facing in life. But it's here to give you an alternative perspective on life. Love's the answer, and we have to align ourselves with it so that it can give us the results that we're looking for in life. In addition to that, one thing that we want you to have for free is this book on budgeting. I believe this is one of the foundations of what life is all about, and that is being able to manage your resources. Resources are going to be the things that you're going to use to reach your goals. And this is the best way that you can begin to hold on and grab hold of those things, those goals that you're looking to accomplish in your life, is being able to manage your resources. And here's the book. We wanted to provide this to you as a starting point of being able to manage and budgeting made easy, a guide to taking charge of your money. Go over to our website. It's there for you for free. All you have to do is ask for it. We'll send it out to you, get a copy, PDF file of it, right there on the spot. So we really want you to have it. If you don't have it, get it, pick it up, give it away, do whatever. We want people to have it. That being said, we're here to talk about the foundation of this thing called life, and the thing that I call the philosophy of love that allowed me to take on the mindset that leads me and led me to this point in my life. And the doctor and I are having a great conversation because today, and it's very interesting today, I ran up on a video online, and it's a very touchy subject as it relates to, and I'm not even going to get into what the topic was, but what the issue was from what I came of it, because I don't want us to get off course, because the topic will take us way off course.
Okay.
But what it caused me to see was that there are two truths, two types of truths.
Right.
And I think at the fundamental and the foundational level of our existence is we operate in one of these truths. We operate out of one of these truths at one point in time, at any point in time in our life.
Right. Okay.
And it's this idea of this subjective truth versus this objective truth. And I guess we should really start with really defining and understanding so people understand the difference between subjective truth and objective truth. You want to throw that out there for them?
Yeah, sure. I'll throw that out one. I can take it. A subjective truth is something that is going to refer to an individual's beliefs, experiences, and the perception that it influences in their interpretation of their circumstance and their situation. Subjective means it's based on their acknowledgement, experience, and what we call operational definition of meaning and purpose. An operational definition is, this is what this situation means to me, and the purpose is my resolution of how I will respond to it.
Now, with that being said, that right there denotes why we do what we do, irrespective of whether or not it's in our best interest or not.
Absolutely. Because what that does is exactly what an emotional acknowledgement to a circumstance or situation is designed to do, and that is to simply put us in that context of that moment. That's what is called situational awareness. The moment I'm aware of my circumstances and my situation is the moment I've localized myself to this event. I'm paying attention, in essence. Emotions have only one purpose: to draw you to that moment of attention, because that moment of attention is what is now affecting your sense of congruity and stability with your circumstances. Another way of saying it is, up until this moment, everything was hunky-dory, everything was fine. But in this moment, something happened. That something happened is the emotional acknowledgement that your circumstance and your situation has shifted.
Now, at the same time, though, there is no absolute, or I hate to say absolute, but there is no definition. And when I say definition, I'm talking about structure to what it is that your moment is presenting you with, that determines whether or not your response to that moment is going to be in your best interest or not.
And that is why your thought process, how you think, critically think, how I think, how am I defining this moment? Critically think, what does this moment mean to me? And reasoning, how will I respond to it, are being triggered.
Well, but they don't have to be.
Oh, they are always triggered, because the emotion is telling you that there is something occurring here that you did not anticipate or expect to occur. That's one of the processes of our first instinct. Our first instinct is survival.
But that being said, though, if that's the case, what does that mean to a person who is not making the decisions, the critical, that not processing the critical thinking necessary for whatever reason, whether or not they have the capacity or the capability of it or not, to be able to get to the critical point. Because again, we're talking about the difference between subjective truth and objective truth.
Exactly.
We haven't got to the objective truth
We
yet.
haven't gotten to the objective, but what
But
it means to that individual is that until he or she resolves, and by resolution we means comes to a sense of purpose and meaning about this event, the intensity of the emotional energy they feel will increase, because emotions are designed to sensitize you to what is sometimes referred to as the just noticeable difference between what was happening a moment before and what is occurring right now. Remember, emotions tell you to pay attention to what's occurring right now because it is different from what you were experiencing a moment ago. It's a continuum. Look at a straight line. At any point in time on that straight line, you can place a dot that represents where you are in your mind's expectation of your emotional connection. And the reinforcer being that emotional connection that is shaping your mind's expectation. It's at that point that thinking, critical thinking, and reasoning align themselves behaviorally to adjustment, acceptance, and achievement.
which then is basically moves you into objective truth.
Objective truth, because once you have established an objective truth, what you are now acknowledging is the existence of truth that is verified consistently and through the capacity of consistency, confirmation of its stability. It's always going to be this. There's no confusion. Once you've established objective truth, you now have something that is a verifiable existence point that you subjectively can compare and contrast yourself against.
And accept it.
And by virtue of your understanding and acceptance, achieve an awareness of it that behaviorally will enable you to adjust to what it is you understand, adapt to what it is you accept, and achieve what it is you acknowledge.
So let me just let's just put this into a perspective here. Do you have to have a subjective perspective of an objective truth? Is it
You
possible?
start with a subjective perspective. You start with it.
But listen to my point. Can you have an objective truth without a subjective truth?
You will have an objective truth when you have acknowledged that your mind and your body are a composite in their resolution of this process, because that becomes what is defined as reality testing.
Okay, but I'm just to be clear, to be clear, when we talk about objective truth, is that something that we measure our subjective truth against?
We compare and contrast our trust and our confidence in objective truth to reinforce the stability of our decision making. See, when I know know, reality testing, when I know that as long as I'm on the planet Earth and I'm holding something in my hand and I let it go, what I let go is going to fall to the ground. Why? Because of gravity. Gravity on Earth is an objective truth. There's nothing subjective about it.
Whether or not you understand the science of it or not, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Isaac Newton proved that for us when the apple hit him in the head. Because that objectivity and truth exists, because that objectivity, listen very clearly to me, because that objectivity and truth exists, we know by virtue of its existence what we now have to resolve as our ambiguity about its purpose and meaning. This is the question we are being asked.
And so as it pertains to life, and this ultimately is what we're talking about, is how do we navigate this thing called life? There are some objective truths that we have to accept to be able to navigate this thing called life.
Precisely.
And without it, we are operating in a subjective truth.
And as we struggle to operate in that objective conflict between subjective and objective truth, and I say objective conflict because I'm going to clear it up for you in a moment, but I'll do that right now. When we're talking about life from an acronymic perspective, when we're talking about life, what we are saying is it's logical, the L, it's integrated, the I, fluidic, constantly moving environment. Life is a logical, integrated, fluidic environment. So that means that we are constantly integrated into the movement of the environment. We exist in this environment. We exist in this environment because we can consistently, through confirmation and confidence, clarify what this environment means to us. That's the subjectivity. What does this mean to me? I can see the truth. I can see the objectivity of the truth. I can see that I want to hold this cell phone in my hand and I don't want to let it go because gravity is going to have an impact on the ground and I'm in T-Mobile trying to get a new phone. So the purposing of the objectiveness in truth is to define for us what is an acknowledged limitation that will challenge our expansivity in our relationship to the environment. Because we are designed, second instinct, reproduction, thought process. We survive, first instinct, second instinct, reproduction. We are designed to find ways to expand ourselves beyond the limitations of any existing environment. This is what Charles Darwin was talking about when he said the survival of the species is not predicated on the smartest, the fastest, or the strongest. It's predicated on the adaptability, the capacity to adjust, the capacity to integrate and move beyond the structural limitations, physical as well as emotional and mental, of our environment. That's why this is so important.
And here's the point. And love characteristics, three of the characteristics of love. The first one is the ability to adapt. And when it is being a chameleon. And what a chameleon does is it adapts.
And accepting that, realize that because life is fluidic, the first composite in love is its ability to be the L, living. It's organic. It's a part of our natural composited sense of purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. It is vibrant. It's emotionally engaging. Living, organic, vibrant emotion. What love is, bringing us to the awareness that subjectively something is occurring right now, situational awareness, that is challenging my sense of expansivity, arguing the limitation.
So that being the case, what you've just expressed is the need for constant and continual growth for you to experience this thing called life because of the living effluent or living, keep on saying it, go ahead and say it. Say the acronym, say it again.
Living, organic, vibrant emotion.
Well, wait a minute, that's the love. That's for love.
That's what love is.
I'm talking about
so
life.
That you can in life see the logical, integrated, fluidic environment.
That's why you need to continue to learn so you can understand how life works. Mm-hmm. And you use love to do it.
Love is a motivating factor.
Yes. I mean, that's the point. That's what we're getting at. So it's all connected in the sense of being able to understand the psychology behind it is to be able to understand what life is all about. We get this feeling that life is about, we operate, we own this, we are possessing this instead of experiencing it.
And because we use words subjectively, we can sometimes be manipulated by their expressed acknowledgement of meaning. I possess this. Okay, you possess the ability to reality test what it is you do, but you do not possess or own the environments you encounter.
No, because again, you have this the I'm just looking out the window going, that's gonna be here if I'm not going, even if I'm not, it's gonna be here. I'm just passing through this thing. And to be simple about it, if you understand and appreciate its value,
right,
and understand your place in that bigger picture, that bigger value, you begin to take on a whole different approach as it relates to your decision-making process. It's almost as though with your subjective perspective, it's like you've said, it's only meant to get you to the objective perspective. It leads the way so you can see the bigger picture.
And so in seeing the bigger picture, as any Hinduist or Buddhist would tell you, you see the oneness of your alignment to that bigger picture. You see the clarity and the consistency of that oneness that gives you the confirmation that what I do, reality testing, what I do is in relationship to that expansive oneness.
Unity.
And what is love designed to do? Unify.
Bring unity. Yeah, I mean, that's the ultimate bigger picture, is that you understand that we're in this thing together.
Yes. This is why, when you look at it from a philosophical perspective, and you see the guy standing on the mountain talking about the Beatitudes, you begin to realize that is how we evolve. That is how we become self-consistently driven to evolve. That's our third instinct, emotional gratification. And that emotionalized gratification leading to the fourth instinct, where we tie this all together, the thinking and behaving, tying it all together in what is called the growth and developmental process. That fourth instinct, clarifying this by the acknowledgement that the way I think is the way I am. I think,
am,
therefore I am.
I am. And let's, I'm not even going, but there
Yeah,
is a scripture that says
there,
that I am
that
that I am.
I am. I mean, that's one of the most prolific moments in the Bible when Moses is finally coming to the realization of what is going to mean objectively. Because see, subjectively, he had his doubts.
Yes,
You
yes,
know,
the point I'm saying,
I'm asking you questions here.
the bigger picture takes it well beyond what his perspective,
You
his
know,
own personal perspective is.
I kind of get where you want me to go here. I
Yeah.
get that. But you know, I need to, because people are going to ask, what does this mean? And when they say, well, how did you come to this meaning? Who gave you this meaning? The boy simply says, I am that I am. My interactive mindfulness. Look at I am. Fourth instinct, I am. Interactive mindfulness. I'm interactively mindful of everything that is occurring around me, for me, to me, and with me. And that the thinking has activated that interactive mindfulness. I am that I am.
And the simplest thing is to understand the bigger picture. And it's about that I am
Mhm.
is in concert with the fact of how he or how I am relates to a bigger picture.
Because it defines for you a meaning and a purpose.
And that gives you fulfillment.
And the moment that it gives you fulfillment, look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The moment you understand what it is you need is the moment you minimize the confusion of what you want. Because
Oh
until
boy.
you do what you need to do, you'll never get what you want.
And here's the point. What you want is confused. If you never understand what it is you need, confusing is like chasing your tail you're chasing yourself, chasing your tail.
Absolutely.
Because you're after something. And it's so interesting in our society, we look at money over fulfillment. And you'll never get the fulfillment trying to chase money.
So you know,
But here's the thing that you really don't understand is that if you get fulfillment, money will follow.
because money has a singular purposing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
that's
You know,
it.
don't make it more than it really is. You know,
If you find purpose, if you find fulfillment, you would have found purpose. If you find purpose, if you find fulfillment, you'll find purpose, and purpose will inform you of the need to provide for somebody else, to provide that to someone else. It's what you have to offer.
that's what you have to offer.
And when you have something to offer, that means somebody needs it.
And there you are providing a resource for that satisfaction and fulfillment of a need state. It gives you a sense of purposefulness.
I say this all the time. Life is business resembles life. It operates in the same sense of every one of us. If we were to put it into the formula of a business,
Mm-hmm.
we all have a unique service or product to offer life, to offer each other, because we're here to
Offer each
serve
other,
one
right?
another. We're here to
Mm-hmm.
serve one another. And when we understand what that is, and then we develop it to a point where we can present it to each other, it begins to then bring us fulfillment when you see we provide a need for someone else. That's what business is.
Yeah.
Business is no more than a product or a service with a way of delivering of it to a person who needs it.
And in so doing that, business becomes the transactional assessment and application of what you need and what you want being provided by what I can give you.
Okay,
Because I'm
go ahead.
engaged
Break
in
it down.
this.
Break it down.
Yeah,
Break
look at
that
this
down.
now. Because see, that's my fifth instinct, transition, transformation. When I have effectively, interactively acknowledged what it is that prevents an individual from receiving fulfillment in his or her life, the purposing and meaning of why I am in your life at this specific moment is to provide you with what is necessary for you to resolve this, becomes the exchange that a business represents.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay.
I'm a
I'm with you.
therapist. This is what a
I'm
therapist
with
does.
you. Again, and that's the whole, and that's what I'm saying. It is the actual practical application of being of going through the process of providing that service to a person who has need of your service to provide them their desired outcome.
And look at what that does in two areas, two very specific areas, empathetically and sympathetically. Look at what that does to the cohesiveness of the bonding that is formed between those two individuals. Empathetically, I can experience what it is you're going through, and sympathetically, I can see how it influences you and affects you.
Wow. And impacts and then begins to impact your fear of influence.
And by stepping you through, and we have four processes that's called cognitive behavioral modification is one example. Another is what we call solution focus. Here's a solution. Let's focus on what's necessary to get you there. We have four distinct steps that will always be consistent with the way in which you go from a subjective truth to an objective truth. And those four steps are to first be able to describe what it is you are experiencing so that I can explain to you its meaning and its purpose. Now, let's show you, based on that, the predictability of what occurs if you do not effectively resolve this approach and avoidance confliction that is occurring. The closer you get to it, the more you want to avoid it. And then the singular event becomes, and this is the tipping scale, fulcrum scale on the seesaw. This is the tipping moment. Separate being controlled by something by learning how to manage it. Separate the control from the management. Maslow telling you, you're not going to get what you need until you resolve what it is you want. What you want is that clarity. What you want is to see that I can manage my truths.
Isn't that the challenge though? Is to recognize that is what we want.
Precisely, because that challenge, once it's resolved, becomes that fourth thing that we're doing, application. You apply that from this step forward to how you think, critically think, and reason. It becomes your behavior modeling.
And therefore allows us to be able to, as I talk about in the transference or the transformation that love can do in your life, when you have that concept of love should change us. It should change us.
It does.
Well, well, I say should,
okay,
because you have to allow it to.
And
you have to allow it to.
And allowing it to, we call it separating control from management.
Yeah.
It is the resolution to where you're going to find 90 to 95% of the struggles that people have in their life under the head of what is called the approach avoidance conflict. The closer I get to something, the more I want to avoid it, because I don't want to acknowledge that change. We struggle to hold on to something that has passed its moment.
and the cause and the effect of it, we're willing to hold on to that inability or that lack of desire to want to let go,
Yeah.
in spite of the effects of holding on to it.
And in so doing, you see the intensity that exists between that control versus management objective.
But here's the thing, isn't that liberating? Shouldn't that be liberating?
It is
Because
supposed to be liberating.
because you've just gone through my experience, and that was the liberating part. But here's what it took to do it. I had to be humble.
And by being humble, I had to accept. I had to accept what I understood. You see, again, thinking, look at the model of thinking, understanding, acceptance, acknowledgement. If I don't accept what I understand, I can't acknowledge its meaning and purpose.
Again and again, to get to that space, you've got to, herein lies the simplicity of this.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get to a place where you realize that you can't do it.
And
you cannot do it.
And that place right there, that place is your objective truth.
In a nutshell.
In a nutshell, that is your objective truth. I can't do this alone.
And here's the point. That whole circle and cycle who got us right here, back here, is to get to the point of saying, I can't do it alone. And everything that we've been talking about supports the fact that you can't do it alone.
And by accepting that, I realize I'm not alone. My belief system, my attitude, my sense of attitude, behavior, conclusion, belief, adjustment, resolution, that entire process of what we call basically critical thinking becomes a reassurance and the affirmation of that reassurance that Moses gets at that burning bush when he says, I am that I am to him. You are not alone, and you will never be alone. Even in the moment of your transition, this is sometimes something that when we're talking about paleo interventions, when an individual is reaching a point where he or she is starting to transition, they're leaving the physicality of an existence, and there's that fear of the quote unquote the unknown. It's simply the realization that you're moving from one aspect of existence to another. And the only thing that is being, quote unquote, minimized in this process is your physicality. Your physicality. We sometimes confuse love with the intensity of that physicality.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We sometimes become trapped, controlled. Remember, separate control from management. We sometimes become trapped and controlled by that physicality. If I don't look like I stepped out of a GQ magazine or whatever glamour magazine you want to have from a female's perspective, then I'm not ruling the day. If I don't have these pointed nails and I don't have my makeup right, if I don't have that dimple in my tie, you know the drill. You know, this is what they look for. All you got to do is sometimes go to any of the TikTok videos that you want to reels, and they'll explain it to you.
Yeah.
You trap yourself by that. What is a cosmetic truth? See, we're talking about subjective and we're talking about objective truth. Do not forget the power of a cosmetic truth.
It allows you to justify your subjective truth.
And therein lies the reinforcement of the subjective truth that is at the very heart of what you've just heard me continually refer to as the approach avoidance conflict. The closer you approach it, the more you want to avoid it, because the moment I accept it is the moment I now hold myself accountable and responsible for it. You see the objectiveness? You are now responsible and accountable.
And the thing that I talk about is, you talk about death is something that, until you really begin to embrace that, what you're talking about, life is held hostage.
Absolutely. Because
It's
your
held
entire
hostage.
perception of its meaning and purpose is now limited. You see, who was it? Richard Bach, an author. Jonathan Livingston Seagull said in one of his passages, argue for your limitations, and sure enough, you own them. I know I'm stepping all over the quote, but argue for the limitation and you own it. You become that limitation.
And it's inevitably, because you play it out in your actions. It plays out in your actions.
That is why the moment you're sitting there with a therapist and the therapist is saying to you, describe what's going on, because you come in here and you say, I'm not crazy. I know you're not crazy, because crazy does not exist. Behavioral abnormalities exist, but we have a definition for what it is you are experiencing. You are fearful of accepting what that definition is, so you hide behind the illusionary power of the word crazy. But that's a different discussion for a different day.
Because it rolls off pretty easily.
There we go.
It rolls off pretty easily depending on the circumstances. And it's because we all have those limiting beliefs. I mean, that keeps us into that consciousness. But here nor there.
We all have a ground zero. And that's why it's so important that you describe to me what your ground zero is, so that I can explain to you what you and I are batting back and forth right now. So I can explain to you how that works. Because here's the demystifying aspect of it. Once I show you how something works, you're not confused by your interpretation of it.
It then becomes simply a choice.
It's a choice. And this is why I will, people will tell you your decisions matter. Your choices are far more significant than your decisions, because your choice is what puts you in the capacity to actualize what that decision is going to be, because that's the altering of life moment.
And again, these are, if you're familiar with me and what I talk about the love attitudes, the attitudes of love. And when you're able to grasp those attitudes, make those attitudes a part of who you are, you begin to now actualize that in your daily operation, and that in lives allows you to navigate life a whole lot more successfully.
Remember that fourth instinct, that growth and development instinct. We usually internalize this. If I do it chronologically, we usually internalize this somewhere between the ages of basically 18 to 35. Late adolescence into early adulthood, 18 to 35, we internalize the meaning and purpose of what our existence is, because we have a clear attitudinal design of its purpose and meaning to us. Life has prepared us for the consistency and the certainty of the decisions having an effect on us. Every decision we make as a product of every choice we have is going to influence a trajectory. It's going to be movement.
Look, I had a pastor who told us a long time ago, and this is what I live by.
Okay.
He says, choices are long-lasting, life-changing. Long-lasting, life-changing. Yeah. I'd say this, long-lasting, meaning they're not in a vacuum.
Oh, no.
The one that you made 10 years ago, you're still working on it. You're still living it. You're still operating out of it, because there is no do-overs. There are no do-overs. This is not golf. There's no drop in a drop.
You don't get a mulligan.
You don't get no mulligan and pick it up and think that you'll hit another one. Everything builds on the previous decision or choice that you made. It builds on it.
And when you can accept that, you have just acknowledged your universal truth.
And here's the point. When you say universal or objective truth, it ain't but one.
That ain't but one. There we are.
Ain't but one.
This is it. This is
and
it.
it fit everybody. It fits us all. Now, how you operate, how you engage it, how you participate in that truth is going to determine your outcome or your outcome. Your
outcome. Because
outcome.
again, remember, life, fluidic environment, fluidic, constantly moving.
This really solidifies. You remember how I started this, and I was telling you I heard something online, and I'm not bringing up the topic because I tell you that as soon as the topic comes up, you're gonna have people. But if you hear this conversation that we're having right now, and you put it up against a conversation that I heard that has to do with a subjective truth, there is an objective truth that we don't want to accept because of our subjective truth.
Right.
And here's the thing that we talk about in life. When you say it's this fluidity, look, what was.
Yeah.
Now you got a choice to either let was be and move on to what is, with hopes of providing something better in the future. But if you continue to worry about what was, you will forever be operating in the what was, never feeling the benefits of the present so that the future might look different.
I know I'm going to get in trouble when I say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm going to have fun with it when I say it. There was a guy several years ago who was getting himself wrapped all up in circles and knots, trying to define the word is. Integrated systemically is integrated systemically. Everything you just described integrates us systemically as a system into this thing called life and the personification of this acknowledgement of purpose and meaning of love. Integrated systemically. What you did yesterday is going to have rippling effects on whom you are today.
No, I fully engage and understand that, but in the context of what I heard earlier, at some point in time, if it was not in your favor, that experience, you got to let it go.
And it's not so much, and this is, this is where, and it's true, you have to let it go, but someone owes you the capacity of clarity in defining what letting go means. Letting go simply means realizing, as we say in therapy, the difference between being controlled by something and managing it.
And I think that is in and of itself puts you in the moment versus someone taking something from you and you engaging it and having the ability to manage it.
Integrated systemically.
Yeah, I think you might have some ideas to what the conversation was about.
Yeah,
but the point of the matter is that we have really got to seize the moment.
Oh yeah.
And not live with the expectation of some type of I'm not even going to use the buzzword. Some type of reward or
come on now, you know.
Justice
There you go.
for the IS, the IS. It was, it did. You can't change it.
No, it's
not even if you could, you can't change it.
It served its purpose.
Even if you wanted to, you shouldn't want to.
Well, and because it served its purpose.
Hold on now. You know you getting ready to say something that got much of them.
I'm gonna take you there.
You getting ready. You getting ready to go strong right here.
I have to go there because this is that moment where the subjectivity of a truth now becomes the objectivity of its existence and clarity. This is the moment where, when they say it is what it is, this is that moment where the meaning and purpose of it tells you that is its definity. That's where it ends. That is where the truth of it clarifies for you the acknowledgement of your choice. You can now accept that, or you can accept this.
Now, hold on. Now, accepting that does not demolish or dictate or determine or modify or even diminish that.
No, because it's knowledge learned. Accepting this is knowledge learned.
Right.
So this is the purpose. Once we know something, and I'll take you in that direction. Once we know something, once we know it, what we are telling ourselves both intellectually, perceptually, and I'll go ahead and add in the third, philosophically, is that the knowledge normalizes our operational worldview. Look at what I just did to the word knowledge. Normalize, knowing something. Knowing something normalizes our operational worldview. The knowledge of what we know being the ability to operationalize our worldview tells us we have the clarity now to view this experience in the totality of our existence, in the total effect.
And it does not diminish.
Does not.
Diminish the reality of its existence. And
it can't diminish it. It can't diminish it, because it has just clarified for you.
Again, so that you might be able to use it.
Yes.
Not be held hostage to it.
Not be held hostage to it.
To move forward in this fluidity that we call life.
In the 4th, 5th grade, I know I'm dating myself. 4th, 5th grade, we learned the multiplication table so we could think geometrically about outcome results. This is the same process. Thinking geometrically.
See what you just said. What you just said, though. Mm-hmm. I'm a how do I say this? I'm a product of not understanding the reason behind what we were taught to do, but caught up in the fact because everybody else is doing it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And when you don't, what you just said, I don't think that there's two people in my life that I've ever heard tell me say that about multiplication. It's just learn the multiplication table. Why? I never forget. It was probably 8 years ago when I had the experience of using geometry.
Okay, 8 years ago. All right.
Practical experience.
Practical experience. Okay.
A
Okay.
practical example
Hmm.
of surface and space.
Right.
Until then, did not know what I was going to be using that for. Had no idea what
Mm.
the purpose and meaning of that would be in my life going forward. But it was on the curriculum.
It was, and it was something you had to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, exactly.
With
It's
having
something
no
you
meaning or
had to do.
purpose to it, though.
Mhm.
And so we get caught up in the curriculum of life without knowing the meaning and purpose of it.
You have just defined why you were motivated to write Love Made Simple. You just reinforced it.
It's crazy though, because
Uh-oh.
nobody speaks to the very motivating factors of what life is all about. We go around talking about the peripheral thing, and the real nuts and bolts of it is the meaning and purpose.
And herein lies our argument for subjectivity and objectivity and truth.
And wonder why we'll hold strong. We will hold strong to being subjective.
Argue for that limitation and you own it. Richard Bach, again, argue for that limitation and you own it. And more to the point, it defines you.
Doc, we are talking about every living being.
Yeah.
And yet it's only a select few who have gone into psychology, who have gone into the area of knowing how we operate,
mm-hmm.
that has a clue as to the meaning and purpose of something that everybody is doing. Mm-hmm. But we're operating on less than half of knowledge. Less than half. They have no freaking clue. And I think if we were to put this in perspective, there's probably less than 5% of life of people who understands what you just said.
More to the point, accept what I just said. Because remember, look at the continuum. Understand and accept.
Yeah, but here's what I'm saying. Yeah. We're in this, what we're doing now is giving you exposure. We're giving exposure to the mass. Mm-hmm. This is not even a conversation that's in the mass. It's not even a conversation that's, I can't even tell you where to go to get this conversation unless you're in some type of philosophical or in type of some higher educational. Mm-hmm. But here's the point. Whether you've seen the inside of a university or you've seen the inside of some type of psychological, philosophical conversation, we all are operating in this thing called life.
Exactly. We're all in the same boat, so to speak.
But yet, this knowledge has been, and I'm going to say it, intentionally left out of the journey.
And I'm not going to argue that because a moment ago in our discussion, we talked about the manipulative aspect of control. We talked about that, and when you are trying to diminish the resources and the accessibility to knowledge, you are limited by that control. Your entire existence now is being structurally altered by that control. I'm not going to take us into how Nazism exists. I'm not going to talk about the significance of the book Fahrenheit 456, burning of books, and don't get me started on where we are right now. Demolishing access information.
Look,
So yeah, you see the hornet's nest, we open
We are in late 1900 America.
it. Oh,
Late 1900, no, yeah,
yeah,
18,
yeah, late
18,
the
18,
18, yeah,
1880s,
1889
1890s,
ish. Yeah,
where we talk. Well, let's not make
yeah.
this
Let's
political,
stop.
but
Yeah.
the fact of the matter is that here's the summary. There are a few who are operating and manipulating and controlling the masses with the least amount of knowledge. And the more the knowledge you have, people don't even recognize or know what they don't know. They don't know.
Exactly. Exactly. And this is sometimes why it becomes so easy because of that frustration and that sense of rage to want to stifle the messenger. Don't tell me the truth to confuse me about my thoughts. Stop telling me the truth to make me start thinking about their meaning. You know, it was Richard Pryor, one of our greatest comedians, had one of those acts where he said, you know, stop telling me the truth to confuse me. You know, stop, please.
It,
I
look,
know.
guys, look,
Here we are.
if you are here for the first time,
Oh yeah.
please hit the like button. If you heard anything here today, hit the like button, subscribe to the Clear Journey YouTube channel. Join us. We are on this journey together.
Yeah.
We are pulling down the curtain so that we might be informed of the things that we don't know,
Mm-hmm.
and the power of this thing called love and the psychology behind it that we all have access to. See, here's the thing different. Here's the differences here. The doc has education beyond education.
Yeah, say stop.
No, I'm saying it's in the sense that the dynamics here, or
Yeah.
I just barely got a high school degree, diploma, just barely. But yet, love connects us.
Mm-hmm.
Love connects us
Absolutely.
in a way
Yeah.
that I have never connected with anyone ever. From what he's saying, I have been living through the experience and exposure of love.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this is all about. It's giving exposure to you and letting you know that no matter where you are on this pendulum, on this thing called life,
Mm-hmm.
don't say it's not because of what you don't know, because we're making it simple. We again, book Love Made Simple. Now, nothing that the doc said, he's clarifying, but it ain't easy. But what we're doing is bringing clarity to it, making it so everybody can see clearly who we are and what it is that we have to offer, and it's all meant to be able to serve one another. We're in this thing together, and with that philosophy, with that understanding, it opens up a whole new perspective on life. And love did it. Love does it.
Love does
can
that.
do it.
Love will do that. Exactly.
And that's what it is all about. It's about having the right mindset to engage this thing with life. Because if we go in it with the one, look, again, like we said when we talked earlier, we started this, it's an alternative.
That's right.
If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, try something new.
Try something new. Yeah. Embrace
Try something new. And when it talks about we fighting for our limitations, try to be exposed, receive something different. and we will guarantee that you will see things different.
You will have opened a passion within yourself that will be as brilliant and as powerful as opening the windows, taking down the drapes, and letting the sunshine into that dark room.
It's amazing.
It
Absolutely
is.
amazing.
It is. And the moment you get there is the moment you realize what being there actually means.
When I say liberating, until you have felt the bonds of being constricted. And here's the point that we don't really realize is that until we're liberated, we don't even recognize that we were in bondage.
You don't know. You do not.
You don't. I mean, you don't. When I can't say it enough, you don't know that you don't know that you don't know. Come back. Join us.
Yes.
We are going to be here for you, helping you to navigate this thing called life. Mm-hmm. And as usual, we can't change life, but we're here to help you navigate through it.
Help you navigate it. Yep.
Until next time, we'll see you then.
Okay.
Thank you for watching this episode. Take a moment to head over to our social media platforms, connect with us, and leave a comment. We'd also love it if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, head over to clearjourney.org for more great resources. We'll see you next time on the Philosophy of Love podcast.